could explain what does such manager do? What is your day-to-day job during this mission?
During the mission preparation, I am responsible, let's say, in 3 words, make it happen, right? So my job is to make sure that all the different aspects of the mission preparation are run and smoothly, and we all get ready to execute the mission. So every mission has multiple aspects. You have engineering, you have safety, security, you have the medical aspects, you have training of the astronaut, you have logistics, you have payload, so science, you have also the payload development and integration. It's really a lot of aspects. For each of these aspects, there is a team in ESA, and with a team lead for that mission, who is in charge of that single aspect. And then I oversee all of them. And so I need to make sure that all of the activities for the preparation run according to plan, and to put the things together to make sure that the interactions work well and that everything gets ready for the mission. But then my job is not over. My job is also I am also responsible for the mission execution. So once preparation is over, we launch. But after launch, we need to execute what we have prepared. And so during the mission execution, I will be in a control room following the mission day to day, and directing the same teams that was in preparation, directing all of them to achieve the mission objectives. So maintain the mission priorities, define what is more important, less important, and if problem arise, find solutions. And again, coordinate all the teams to make sure that by the day Sławosz needs to leave the space station, we have completed all the mission objectives.
Mm-hmm. And is it challenging to coordinate such a mission when we have so many partners? Because we have like Polish Space Agency, we have European Space Agency who organizes scientific missions, Axiom Space, SpaceX, NASA.
So we are used to it. Is it challenging? Yes. I would say it's fun. I like the challenge. It's not the first mission I do. I was a deputy mission manager for Axiom 3 for Marcus 1 mission, but I've also been the mission manager for Hugin mission of Andy Mogelsen, for Minerva mission of Samantha Cristoforetti. I was also in Kosmicznych for Matthias Maurer. So we always have to interface as well with the national agencies. So I've worked with CNES, with DLR, with ASI before, with the Denmark doesn't have a space agency, but with the ministry there. And so from that aspect, I would say Poland is not different. I work with Polsa and with the ministry the same way, that I've been working in the past. Of course, every country is a bit different, and I think it's also what I like about the job, that every time you learn the culture of the country a bit, right? And so it's a bit different way of working,
yeah.
But it's not really a problem. What is a bit a challenge in these short missions, commercial missions, that we don't work only with NASA, we also work with Axiom. So there is one more partner we have to work with. And so normally it's more a bilateral thing with NASA. In these short missions, it's a trilateral aspect, because we are a customer of Axiom for the mission, but then once Sławosz arrives on board, he's an ESA astronaut in all effect. And so he's not only an Axiom astronaut, he's an ESA astronaut. And so ESA is an international partner of the space station. And so by being an ESA astronaut, he has access to Columbus, which is a big laboratory, right? And we have certain cooperation with NASA, which is already going for 20 years. And so it's just that instead of being a bilateral cooperation, it will be trilateral. It's together with Axiom. I wouldn't say challenges, it's just a bit different, but we are confident it will work.
So, and during such short stay, when we have Sławosz for 14 days, how do you balance between the time assigned for different experiments, but also, of course, other resources that are, finite in the space station? So, I mean, power, storage, all that stuff. How is it different, for example, from planning long duration missions?
That aspect is not very different. So there are teams who are devoted to this. So this is, I like to call the space station the factory of science in space. Because in the end, it's like a factory, like a plant, industrial plant on ground. It's just that it's in space, which makes it a bit more difficult. But you still need a storage room. You still need water to cool down experiments and to make the astronauts drink. You still need power. You still need data for data exchange. You need all the aspects. And so for all of this, everything is planned to the very detailed, like down to the minute, to make sure that everything is super efficient and that by the time you go and switch on an experiment, there is enough power for that. So the power, for example, is just an example. Power is limited on the space station, right? So there is more, let's say, capability of using power than of producing power. So we need to coordinate with all the partners to make sure that everything is planned in a way that overall there's no more power draw than power production. And so it's all coordinated. There's a teams who do this, and everything is done per planning, and everything is set that it works, and it's valid for power, it's valid for oxygen, for water, for heat consumption, for data, and for everything.
And I had asked this question about the cooperation between the crew which flies for 14 days and the crew who already occupies the station and is on the long-term expedition. So is there any plans, like, for example, to help with some experiments with this long-duration crew?
Exactly. So first of all, by definition for the mission, when they get on board, they will spend the first 2 days with the expedition crew for something which is called like a handover, where the expedition crew will show them the new house for the next 2 weeks. So they will do some onboard training, some emergency training, but really like going to the basic of where the toilet is, right? There are certain things for how much you train an astronaut. Until you don't get there, you don't see it. And so there will be really a handover by the astronauts on board explaining the newcomers how the station is. And so this will happen in the first 2 days. But then throughout the mission, there is one astronaut will be assigned as a facilitator. So that person will have several hours per day planned to support the astronauts in general, just to support in case they need, like, not really scheduled exactly what they need to do, just we give them some margin of time on the day so they are not so busy, so that in case one of the short duration astronauts needs help, there is usually somebody able to help. Not only, we also have additional, so because as ESA, as international partner of the space station, we can make use of the astronauts on board for certain experiments where Sławosz was not absolutely needed. We have handed certain activities to some expedition astronaut. So on top of the 80 hours of Sławosz time, there will be something like 5 to 10 hours of another astronaut working on Polish experiments to support Sławosz, so that we can use Sławosz time for something else. So we have increased, let's say, the science output by adding some more, using ESA resources for the space station. We have increased the science output for the Axiom 4 mission by offloading some activities out from Sławosz that he can do something else.
And if you could explain to people who are not like everyday interested in space, how the day-to-day routine would look like for Sławosz on the space station.
Yes, so they have a sleep period and they wake up 6:37 in the morning. So the time is in UTC. And then they have a certain time which is called post-sleep, where they have time for breakfast and, dress up and prepare, but also if they want to review the plan of the day. Then the day starts with what is called the morning daily planning conference. It's called morning DPC, which is always at 7:30 in the morning. And it lasts 15 minutes, and it's a small conference where all the astronauts together talk with all the centers on ground. Houston, Tsukuba in Japan, Munich, and Moscow. And then after the 15 minutes starts the working day. The working day is 12 hours and finishes with daily planning conference, even DPC, which is again a 15 minutes conference. So in the working day starts at 7:30, finishes at 7:30. They don't work 12 hours. In the 12 hours, they work 8 hours, but then they have lunch break, they have some small breaks, they have time for exercise, they have also time for, like, if they want to make a call with the family or so on. So it's a 12 days period in which they work 8 hours. And then once they finish working, they have the pre-sleep. So in the morning they have the post-sleep, in the evening they have the pre-sleep, where again it's time for them to do whatever they want. And also, like, these are time where we really value high their privacy. Like during outside of the DPC period, it's their private time. They can do whatever they want. They go and talk with family. They can just go in Kupa and enjoy the view, and then they go to sleep.
About the modules that we already have in International Space Station, how important is that we as European have Columbus module for the performing scientific experiments?
It has a double aspect. One thing is technical. Of course, it's not a laboratory, right? It's a set of laboratories. There are multiple laboratories, right? And so having it there allows multiple aspects of science to be performed, and it is our one. We can do kind of what we want with it. But the other aspect is also that we are not customers of the space stations. We are partners of the space station, right? And this is really the important aspect. Like Sławomir, when he will arrive on board, he is not only an Axiom astronaut, he is an ESA astronaut. And so being an ESA astronaut is part of ESA, is international partner to the space station. And so we have a voice on what happens on board. We are part of the decision making of what happens on board. The operations on the space station will not be under responsibility of Axiom, will be under responsibility of ESA. And so I think this is really like not only the technical part, but also the operational part and the want to say political part, right? Like we are a partner and not a customer. That's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. And you were talking about exercises that the astronauts will perform. Do they differ from the exercises that are done by the regular crews on 6-month mission because of the short stay?
Yes. So they do have some resistive exercise with the TerraBand elastic, and then one of the things that was added between Axiom 3 and Axiom 4, now every astronaut does CIVIS, which is the cyclet. This was something that ESA introduced for Marcus Van on Axiom 3. For Axiom 3, he was the only one to do it, but his feedback was that this was extremely valuable because the TerraBand is only resistive, but it's not the strong aerobic exercise, and so he said it was really good to give it to break a sweat. And so now every of the Axiom astronaut does multiple CIVIS sessions. But they are limited to CIVIS. They don't do the treadmill, and they don't do RED, which is the resistive exercise, which is, let's say, probably better than the elastic TerraBands. But again, the countermeasures you need for 2 weeks are not the same you need for 6 months, right? And so the exercise protocol is not the same as for the 6 months, simply because it's not needed. Yeah.
What lessons you personally learned from previous short duration missions that you took part of? Like Munin, I think you were part of this one. So are there any like operational changes for the Ignis mission?
The aspect of the short duration mission is that it's very short. So in terms of astronaut time, actually for ESA, we do in 2 weeks what we are used to do in 3 months. Which makes it much more condensed. But it's not only the workload, it's more the fact that if something goes wrong, you don't have a week to resolve it, right? You need to resolve it by tomorrow, otherwise you miss it. So this is really the challenging aspect. And so we were already prepared for it during Axiom 3, but of course, there's always lessons learned, right? There's always continuous improvement. And so we have also tuned up a bit the support of the teams on ground during the mission to make sure that we overcome certain problems that we had during Munin. So there will be a bit more support on that aspect. But then, we had a lot of lessons learned. Like I'm talking like about 150 or 200 lessons learned in general by all the teams from Axiom 3, and we have been working on all of them to implement them on all aspects.
And what moment you are very experienced in this, so maybe it changes from mission to mission, but what moment are you waiting for the most for the mission?
In this case, I would say splashdown. So like I'm very excited for what is coming. I've been working on it now 1.5 years, almost 2 years. It was very intense, it was very challenging, and we are in a very good shape. It looks like we are in a very good shape. So my feeling is we have prepared everything. I don't see any critical aspects where there is problems at the moment, nothing, and which looks very good. Like there are small things, of course, as all the time, but nothing critical and big. So we are in a very good shape, but then it's on paper, right? And then you get there and it's everything different. And so this is also the fun of the job, right? You get into it and things happen and maybe they're a bit different and then we need to resolve them. So I've been working to gain margins also in the time to make sure that if something goes wrong, we have a bit of margin to fix things. But the goal is to achieve 100% of the mission objectives, maybe even more if we are lucky. And so this is the goal, but it's a very ambitious goal. And so, more than splashdown, I think, for me, would be undock, because in principle, then after the undock, then we are in the hands of SpaceX, and I think we are in very good, capable hands. I don't expect any trouble for the splashdown. So for me, I think that the time where I will be really, let's say, relaxing and saying, okay, finally it's done, will be the undock. And I think I'm a bit looking forward to it. But on the other side, it's always, we call it the post-mission blues, right? Like, you've been so intense, right? You have all this energy, and then all of a sudden it's done. Yeah, I will have another mission to take care of in the future. It's in work, but it will start ramping up, and it will be completely different mission. So there will be a bit of time to relax a bit.
That's what we wish you to have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.